Tobias's sentencing.
Hello. Welcome to GNN News. This is Anchorman George Cumming. We interrupt this program with some breaking news. This just in. Tobias Tyson has just been arrested for assault. Witnesses have spotted him trying to break into the Cooper residence with a gang of 5 members. But when he got inside, he got knocked out by Maya Cooper's sister, Richmonda. Tomorrow, Tobias will stand trial for all his crimes. So until then, we now return you to our regularly scheduled program. This is Anchorman George Cummingham, signing off.
The next day, at the courthouse. All rise for the Honorable Judge Jeanine Applegate.
Alright everyone. You may all be seated. Court is now in session. Tobias Tyson, you've been placed under arrest yesterday for a few charges that were pressed against you. Prosecutor Henry Maverick, read the charges.
Tobias Tyson, you've been charged for drug smuggling, drug dealing, attempted murder, robberies, and child abuse.
How do you plead?
Your Honor, my client, Tobias Tyson, is not guilty of any of those charges that were pressed against him. Sources found no evidence of him being responsible for the drugs and money. As for the charge for child abuse, the girl who claimed that my client was abusing his own son, Andre, had no proof to back said claim up. Hence, the defendant is innocent in this.
Amen to that.
On the contrary, there were witnesses, including the girl you're referring to, who saw everything the defendant did. So, I call upon my first witness, LaTonya Larson.
Tobias Tyson's a misogynist and a sly, cunning, and hardened criminal. He threatened to kill his own wife Danielle, Naomi, and Crow Girl 22 if they didn't let him hurt Maya and Andre. Therefore, I say he is guilty.
Objection, Your Honor. My client loves his wife with all his heart and soul. He would never find it in his heart to harm her in any way, whether it be physical or verbal.
My lawyer is correct. I would never hurt a lady.
Oh really? Then how do you explain what I recorded on my phone?
And if y'all don't cooperate and let me give Maya and Andre the punishment they rightfully deserve, I'll ram my way through the door and kill you where you stand. That could have been edited as fake news.
That's enough. Your objection's overruled. This witness recorded everything the jury just heard. There's no way of editing a recording of someone. So with that, I call upon my next witness, Drake Larson.
My department had a secret squad uncovering evidence of drugs that were registered under Tobias's name. He's been falsifying the identity of the buyer for years. And from what Maya said on the news, GNN News reporter Kimberly Denver pointed out that Tobias has been operating his business from off the grid. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Objection. There was no proof of drugs being registered under my client's name. And if a drug-dealing operation were done off the grid, how can anyone be deemed responsible for it?
Well, that's true I guess. However, I will need to see proof of the witness's claims.
The evidence is in his laptop.
Aha. So, the defensor is wrong. Another objection overruled. As for you, Officer Larson, thank you for providing the evidence to the court.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
I call upon my next witness, Aisha Larson.
When my parents and I saw Maya issuing her public apology to everyone in Rapper City on the news, she mentioned that her boyfriend's been drugged and abused by his own dad. Thus, when Andre gave one of the drugs to Maya, she became the bad rapping gangster she began to regret acting like since she got grounded last Christmas for destroying her tree. Therefore, I say that Andre's dad is guilty.
Thank you, Aisha Larson. I call upon my next witness, Cedric Turner.
Tobias Tyson gives the baddest man in the whole damn town a bad name. He formed a gang of drug smugglers and has been pretending not to be associated with his own gang. But what he should have known was that even the most clever gangsters ain't perfect when it comes to covering their own tracks. Therefore, I say he's guilty as charged.
Thank you, Cedric. I call upon my next witness, Ruth Turner.
I agree with everything LaTonya and Cedric just said. Tobias is a liar, a kingpin, and a misogynist. I hope he gets life in prison without parole. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Ruth. I call upon my next witness, Noah Turner.
Mr. Tyson's a bad parent. He drugged and abused Andre and drove him to become a bad influence to Maya, who happens to be friends with my sister. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Noah. I call upon my next witness, Elliot Turner.
Aside from being a criminal mastermind, Mr. Tyson's so sick in the head that he left behind not only physical scars from the way he treated Andre, but emotional scars as well. Therefore, I say he's guilty and I wanna see the Popo place him behind bars for good.
Thank you, Elliot. I call upon my next witness, Caleb Bennett.
Tobias Tyson's been a sick man from the very beginning. He's been smuggling drugs with his gang and abusing his kids. Especially Andre in particular. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Caleb. I call upon my next witness, Josephine Bennett.
Tobias Tyson's a petty crook, a greedy gangster, and a full-blown child abuser. He only cares about money and drugs. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Josephine. I call upon my next witness, Jaden Bennett.
Mr. Tyson's the top of the food chain when it comes to being a leader of a criminal empire. He's been covering his tracks to hide evidence of drug smuggling and child abuse. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Jaden. I call upon my next witness, Zara Bennett.
Mr. Tyson's a bad daddy and a monster. He's been abusing Andre from the very beginning. He even did it in front of my... Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Zara Bennett. I call upon my next witness, Daryl Cooper.
Tobias has been a bad father from the very beginning. He corrupted his own first child Andre. And then he drove him to pass that corruption down to my first daughter, Maya. And the worst thing he did so far was sending his gang with him to break into my house to kill both Maya and Andre where they stand. He's been a big threat to my family. Therefore, I say he's guilty. And I want to file a restraining order against him so that he'll never harm one hair on any of my kids ever again.
Thank you, Daryl. I call upon my next witness, Naomi Cooper.
Tobias is a misogynist. When Danielle, Crowgirl 22, and I were blocking the door so that he wouldn't get inside my house, he threatened to kill us and then he beat Crowgirl 22 up. He's got no remorse for any of his actions whatsoever. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Naomi. I call upon my next witness, Richmonda Cooper.
Mr. Tyson's even worse than my uncle Rufus. He's been abusing my older sister's boyfriend Andre, even one night while Andre was on a date with Maya herself. And then he broke into our house to kill them both. So I ran up to him and knocked him out in order to save them. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Richmonda. I call upon my next witness, Riley Cooper.
Mr. Tyson's a big fat monster. He knocked my mama out when he rammed his way inside my family's house and assaulted Andre right in front of me and my sisters. Then he tried to kill Maya when she stood up to him. Therefore, I say he's guilty.
Thank you, Riley. I call upon my next witness, Danielle Tyson.
Yo. Danielle, don't you dare testify against me.
Sorry, honey. But you leave me no choice. Your Honor, my husband is a liar, a child abuser, a drug dealer, and a thief. He drugged our own son Andre and turned him into a gangster. He don't give a hoot about neither of our kids. All he cares about are his gang, money, and drugs. And to make matters worse, he threatened to kill me, Naomi, and Crowgirl 22 when we tried to stop him from getting inside the Cooper's house to kill Andre and Maya. Me, his own wife, his baby. When I married him, I thought that he was a very sexy man even though he's fat. But now, I regret ever doing so in the first place. You broke my heart, Tobias. You broke my heart. I never want to see you again.
Oh, poor Danielle. Poor you.
You double-crossing backstabber!
Yar. Not so fast. You will not lay one single finger on your soon-to-be ex-wife, you sick monster. And based on her testimony, you're the real backstabber here. And to give you more evidence of how bad your betrayal is, I call upon my last two witnesses, Ida and Jack Tyson.
Daddy, how could you do this to us? I can't believe you tried to kill our mama.
Yeah, Dad. You know how sad we are because of you?
Very, Very sad. You're bad. Bad, bad daddy.
I can't believe what I just heard. My own twin kids. They hate me.
And that's not all. I call upon the first main victim, Andre Tyson.
Dad, you've been the worst dad I've ever had. You drugged me, made me into a bad boy, a gangster, and you even set me up just to get abused for being bad. You ruined my life. And you even used me as a so-called valuable asset for your criminal empire. You were supposed to love me, my little siblings, and my mama, but you betrayed all of us. Your Honor, I find my terrible excuse of the dad guilty as charged.
Thank you, Andrea. And finally, I call upon the second main victim, Maya Cooper.
Mr. Tyson is a big fat jerk, a thug, a hardened criminal, and a monster. He drugged Andre and made him his bad influence. He tricked them into making me a bad rapping gangster. And when I was on a date with Andre late at night as a troublemaker, Andre's dad stroked his way towards us and beat him up right in front of my eyes. He grabbed his own son by the gold chain and repeatedly beat him up with his bare hands. He kept doing it until he lost a lot of blood on his face and his eyes turned black. And finally, when he saw my public apology to everyone on the news, he decided to bring his gang with him to my family's house to keep both me and Andre from exposing his true self. And when he rammed his way inside, knocking both our mamas out in the process, he knocked Andre out again and was about to kill me before the twin saved me and defeated him. Therefore, I say that the sick monster's guilty as charged.
Okay. I think I've heard just about enough. Tobias Tyson, according to all witnesses' stories, I hereby find you guilty. And for all your crimes against the Coopers and your own family, and the rest of Rapper City, you are hereby sentenced to 100 years in prison without parole. And you'll also be forced to sign the divorce papers. Officers Larson and Adams, take him away.
Well, how the mighty has fallen.
Tobias Tyson, this is your cell. You'll be staying in here for 100 years. Don't even think about escaping, or else you'll be sentenced to life in prison.
Those traitors. They're going to pay for this. Tobias Tyson does not get double-crossed.
Your cunning and manipulative actions have made you betray your own family's trust. So shut up and wait until your jail time's over, child abusing drug dealer.
Shut your mouth, Crow-Toon Productions Incorporated. You ain't seen the last of me. When I get out of here, I'll have my revenge.
We'll see about that.